Hey folks, I'm Dennis. Thanks for watching my video. Today I'm going to show you how to change the display on a laptop computer. The specific one I'm going to be doing today is an ASUS K55 model, but the process is very similar on most laptops. Thanks for watching. Let's get started. Before you start, you want to, just for safety's sake, you want to take your battery out. Make sure you don't have your power connected. So what you're going to need is a pair of tweezers. You're going to need some kind of a tool. This is an automotive trim tool, but you need to have an edge on it. You can use a pocket knife. What you have to do is get in between the bezel and the back to split the case. So plastic is better in my opinion. They make tools that are specifically for this. I don't have one, so I'm going to use a trim tool that I've got. If you use a pocket knife, you run the risk of scratching the plastic. If that doesn't bother you, then no big deal. You can use that. And then you're going to need a small Phillips screwdriver, preferably with a magnetic tip. If you don't have one with a magnetic tip, but you've got like a small magnet, you can just stick it on the shaft of the screwdriver, and that'll keep you from dropping the screws when you take them out. First thing we need to do is take this rubber insert and this rubber insert out, because there's a couple screws back there, so that's what the tweezers are for. I have a hard time getting these out without tearing them up because they're glued in. Or there's, on each side there's a little small Phillips screw. You got to split the back from the bezel. You're basically just going to get in between this crack here and find you a spot where you can pop that open like so. Get it in there and crack it, and then just go all the way around it. Now you can leave it open or close it, whichever way you want to do it. I just don't like to risk stuff falling, so there we go. Once you get all three of these sides undone, you got to get this bottom, so you're gonna have to go in. You can either go in with your tool, here, or our fingers just pop it out, whichever, but that's probably the easiest way to do it without getting cut. You have to get a little aggressive with it on that bottom, but because you got like the hinge covers and that, so just get in there and pop it. It's not gonna hurt anything. And particularly if you're using like a plastic trim tool, set that off to the side. There's two screws here, one here, one here. They all have to come out. The screws are slightly different than the two that you have for the bezel, so but you can different colors. They don't always, you can let that work, might be the same. On these ASUS, they're a little bit different. And we take these out the back all the way, so I just got my other hand behind it. Everything, but so up here at the top of the bracket arm that holds the display in, there's a little small plastic clip, and because this is hard plastic, it's easy to break that. So if it gets broken, the screws are still going to hold everything in place, but if you don't want to break that, the way to do it is to come in here from the side, and this piece of the back is the hinge cover, so you want to pry that down. You can take like a small slotted screwdriver or take your tweezer or something like that, and just get in there between that piece of plastic and the hinge and pry it off like that. You're just going to kind of give it a twist so that cover comes off the hinge. Then you can lift this back up. You pull that out. You got wires in there, so be careful not to like strain them, but you can pull that out a little bit, and then you can get in here and pop this clip up just like that. So you got to work on it a little bit, and like I say, if you break that, it's not the end of the world because the screws are going to hold it. But if you want to try to not break it, that's better. You do both sides, and then you can just lay that back off like so. Now I think it's easier at this point to close it. Let me show you this before I close it. This is the display cable. So the cable runs here and it plugs into the display board here. and then it's got a piece of tape on it. So what you got to do is get up underneath that tape with your tweezers if you can, and then gently peel that back, because that's what holds this plug in. So you want to be pretty delicate with it. Now there's some of them have a plastic strip here covering up this part of the printed circuit board. Some of them won't. This one does. So you want to be careful to hold it down, get that peeled back, and when you get it back to that point, you can generally just unplate. This is stuck down also, so you can kind of peel that back, and then you can just unplug that cable, and it's just a very small micro size connector. So then I'm gonna stick it down there to keep it for safekeeping. And again, be gentle, with all of this, because you've got wires in there. Now I'm gonna fold that down just because I don't want this one's broken, so it doesn't matter, but it's just easier to not have things fall out to me. 3 screws on each side, here, here, and here. So you got to take them out. Now the display is loose. So now you got your broken display out, and you can go in with the new one. So here's my new display. I'll leave a link below in the description where you can buy these displays. This one ran me about $50, so a lot cheaper than buying a new laptop. Again, with any of these parts, make sure that you have discharged your static. You don't want to zap one of these things. It's got a sticky spot where that piece of tape goes, so just be aware of that. It also should come with a protective film on it. Alright, so that makes it free and clear. I'm going to take, I don't want that tape getting stuck up in the rails, so I'm just going to stick it to the plastic. Probably not necessary to leave that plastic on the front, but it makes me feel better. So make sure you've got your connector, the printed circuit board and the connector to the bottom. And just lay it in there. Line up your 3 screw holes. This is the most difficult part, is getting these little screws in. We're going to connect the cable. What I do is just hold that tape back so I can expose the connector, and it'll click in. Let me tilt this up so you can see it better. You just line it up underneath here, and it'll just kind of clip in there. It's not like a real big click, but it's enough to where it's in there. And then tape that back down. Come up here and get these little plastic clips over top of these brackets. Just kind of pop them in place. Alright, like so. Pop that in, and without knocking them off of those brackets, turn around, come around here, and get your hinge covers in place. Pop them in like so. Now we put, these two, 1 and 1 in. Then we pop the bezel on. Now with the bezel, go in first with your hinge covers and just make sure they're in the slot. Pop that down in there in this part, make sure that bottom's where it's supposed to go, because that's the hardest part to get in. I have a harder time with them than anything else. There we go. These last two screws. Then if you want to tackle the little rubber bits, you can put them in there. If you want to mess with those, you can. Yeah, mine got a bit wiped out, so I don't know if I'm going to or not. All right, put the battery back in. Snap it and lock it. And let's check it out. There we go. Non-broken monitor. Nice. Thanks for watching. Give me a thumbs up if you would. Subscribe to my channel. I hope to see you back soon. God bless you.